Have you ever witnessed a quiet moment in a fancy restaurant that suddenly spirals into an unforgettable lesson in respect and humility? Imagine being seated in a high-end dining hall, only for a seemingly ordinary encounter to reveal that true elegance comes from within. Do you think that calm confidence can truly defy preconceptions? Comment with 1 or 2 below and share where you're watching from. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for motivation for success for more inspiring stories. On a cool Friday evening in the very heart of a vibrant city, the world outside seemed to pause as a renowned yet unassuming actor, Keanu Reeves, stepped gracefully into the elegant confines of Aurora Grace. The restaurant, a hidden gem of understated luxury, shimmered under the gentle glow of amber lights that draped the room like a warm embrace. Each table was a masterpiece of refinement, draped in crisp, white linens, adorned with delicately flickering candles, and accented by glasses that caught and refracted the light like tiny, sparkling prisms. Keanu's arrival was a study in contrast and authenticity. Dressed in a slightly rumpled white shirt paired with worn denim, and with his hair artfully tousled in a way that spoke of effortless charm, he radiated a relaxed confidence that set him apart from the sea of impeccably tailored suits and designer dresses. As he crossed the threshold, the familiar, delicate clink of fine china and the soft murmur of genteel conversation gradually hushed into a brief, collective pause. Curious eyes met in silent wonder, and a hushed whisper drifted through the air, "Is that really him?" At the hostess stand, a poised and meticulous woman named Clara, whose very presence seemed to safeguard the reputation of Aurora Grace, watched him with a blend of professional detachment and cautious appraisal. In her early 30s and resplendent in a sharp, pristine uniform, Clara's features momentarily tightened as she took in Keanu's modest attire. "Good evening," he greeted in a deep, steady voice that carried both warmth and quiet authority. "I'd like a table for one, please." Clara's smile, though courteous, held a trace of reserve. "Of course, sir," she replied, her tone clipped as her eyes briefly fell on the scuffed leather of his well-worn loafers. Without further word, she consulted the seating chart and led him through a labyrinth of softly lit corridors, deliberately avoiding the grand central tables where opulent chandeliers bathed clusters of elite diners in a golden glow. Instead, she guided him to a secluded nook adjacent to the bustling kitchen, a space where the aromas of simmering sauces and freshly prepared dishes intertwined, creating a sensory backdrop that was both vibrant and intimate. "This spot should be just perfect for you," Clara said, placing the menu on the table with an effort to infuse cheer into her tone. In the background, the clatter of utensils and the rich, inviting scent of spices played in harmony with the gentle strains of ambient music, crafting an atmosphere that was both refined and warmly inviting. Keanu, absorbing every detail, the murmur of distant conversations, the subtle interplay of light and shadow, and the tantalizing wafts of spiced herbs, responded softly, "Thank you." His calm, unassuming manner betrayed no hint of irritation, even as Clara's eyes, sharp and discerning, betrayed a flicker of skepticism. Not far away, an elderly gentleman named Thomas, silver-haired and exuding dignified elegance, leaned towards his wife, Miriam. "There's Clara again," he murmured, his voice low and laced with quiet disapproval. "She always seems to treat every guest as if they don't belong." Miriam sighed softly in agreement, adding, "It's such a pity, look at him, handling everything with such grace." At his table, Keanu quietly scanned the menu, each page a portal to a world of culinary artistry. Behind the scenes, Clara exchanged a pointed glance with her junior colleague, Daniel, a gentle soul whose eyes held equal parts curiosity and concern. "Did you notice how unfazed he is?" Clara whispered, almost incredulously. "I'm convinced he's completely oblivious to our established protocols." Daniel, frowning slightly, replied, "He seems perfectly at ease. Perhaps he's simply here to savor a good meal, not to make a grand statement. With a serene focus that seemed to defy the undercurrent of tension in the room, Keanu continued to study the menu, his expression one of genuine curiosity and quiet determination, a stark contrast to the whispers and subtle judgments swirling around him. After a few thoughtful minutes, Clara returned to his table, her polished shoes echoing softly against the hardwood floor as she approached with a small notepad and pen in hand. "Have you decided, sir?" she inquired, her tone light yet her eyes measuring him with a barely concealed air of scrutiny. Keanu looked up, offering a modest, sincere smile. "I'll have the specialty steak, medium rare," he replied, his words simple and devoid of pretense. For a brief moment, Clara's eyebrows arched in surprise. "The specialty steak," she repeated, her voice laced with a hint of incredulity. "You do know it's one of our most exclusive dishes, priced at $400. In that suspended moment, the restaurant seemed to hold its breath, the tension mingling with the ambient elegance, a quiet tableau of authenticity meeting expectation, setting the stage for an unforgettable evening. "Yes, I'm aware," Keanu replied evenly, his tone steady as ever. For a fleeting moment, Clara's confident facade wavered, she had clearly not anticipated such a composed acknowledgement of the steep price. Regaining her composure swiftly, she curtly said, "Very well, I'll notify the kitchen." As she turned away, Thomas leaned closer to Miriam, his voice barely a whisper, "This is going to be interesting." Inside, Clara's frustration simmered with every passing second. While Keanu continued to peruse the menu with an unruffled poise that bordered on serene, her covert attempts to undermine him only served to highlight his unwavering calm. "I wonder if he even realizes where he is," she muttered bitterly to herself, her voice a cocktail of disdain and disbelief. Back at the hostess stand, Daniel couldn't help but remark softly, "He really isn't reacting at all. It's as if he's completely indifferent to all of this." With a dismissive gesture, Clara snapped, "You're too naive, Daniel. In this establishment, presentation is everything. Not everyone is meant to blend in." Minutes later, Clara reappeared, this time balancing a glass of water with a touch too much flourish. As she set it down beside his meal, the ice clinked sharply against the glass, a sound that echoed through the tense silence. "Your steak will be out shortly," she said, her voice dripping with a saccharine artificial sweetness that barely masked her underlying irritation. Keanu's response was as composed as always, "Thank you." He allowed his gaze to meet hers for a brief, unspoken exchange before returning his attention to the subtle symphony around him, the soft strains of background music, the gentle murmur of conversations, and the alluring mingling of gourmet aromas that danced through the air. Meanwhile, whispers began to ripple among the diners. At a nearby table, a young woman leaned toward her friend and whispered, "Do you think he's really just here for a quiet dinner?" Her companion simply shrugged, adding, "I don't know. It's his calm demeanor that's capturing everyone's attention." Thomas and Miriam, now completely absorbed in the unfolding drama, exchanged knowing glances. "He isn't just calm," Thomas murmured softly, his eyes reflecting both admiration and a hint of astonishment. "He's in command, even if he isn't trying." Miriam nodded in agreement, as the ambient tension in the room subtly shifted. Back at the hostess stand, Daniel continued to observe the scene with a mix of curiosity and concern. "I wonder if someone like him would even bother to follow our usual protocols," he mused quietly. In response, Clara's eyes flashed with a raw irritation as she murmured under her breath, "He's here on his own terms, and I intend to show him exactly how things work." Soon, the moment everyone had been silently anticipating arrived. Clara reappeared once again, this time carrying a basket filled with freshly baked bread. With an air of exaggerated care, she placed it on Keanu's table and announced, "Here you are. This should tide you over until your steak arrives, her tone a mingling of condescension and forced hospitality. Keanu's habitual calm returned as he simply said, "Thank you." Yet, behind that serene smile, Clara's mind churned with questions. Why wasn't he flustered? Why wasn't he calling for assistance? His consistent, measured presence only fueled her determination to expose what she perceived as his inadequacy in such a refined setting. As the dining room's atmosphere grew dense with unspoken tension, diners who had once dismissed the solitary man in the corner now leaned forward, their eyes filled with a mix of curiosity and silent judgment. "He seems so familiar," Miriam whispered to Thomas, her tone soft with wonder. "Not just in appearance, but in the aura he carries. It's as if he commands respect without even trying." At the same time, back at the hostess stand, Daniel watched Clara's mounting frustration with a hint of sympathy. "He's not reacting the way you expected, is he?" he asked gently. "Maybe he's simply here to enjoy a meal like everyone else." Clara shook her head sharply, her voice low and edged with determination. "I need to see him break. I need some proof that he doesn't belong in this refined environment." Just then, the kitchen staff began to take notice, their eyes flickering toward the service window as they caught glimpses of the enigmatic guest. The soft hum from the kitchen blended with the hushed murmurs of anticipation from the diners, all of whom felt that something extraordinary was quietly about to unfold. Not long after, a tall, dignified woman named Evelyn, the restaurant manager, stepped gracefully out of the kitchen. Her presence radiated an unmistakable blend of authority and warmth as she swept through the dining room with measured, confident steps. Her discerning eyes soon fell upon Keanu's table, and in an instant, her expression shifted from routine professionalism to genuine surprise and recognition. Approaching him with a gentle yet purposeful stride, she stopped by his side and said warmly, "Mr. Reeves, it is an honor to have you with us tonight." A ripple of astonishment spread throughout the room like a soft breeze stirring a still lake. Keanu's eyes, calm and inviting, brightened in recognition as he met Evelyn's gaze. "Evelyn," he replied in a tone both gentle and sincere, "I hope I haven't caused any inconvenience." Her smile deepened, imbued with sincere respect and delight. "Not at all," she assured him. "Had we known you would be joining us, we would have prepared something truly special." The murmurs around them grew louder, tinged with incredulity. A nearby guest gasped softly, "Did she just say Mr. Reeves?" while another whispered, "Keanu Reeves himself. How did we not notice him sooner?" In that charged moment, the very air in the restaurant seemed to shimmer with a newfound energy. Even Clara, now standing stiffly behind the hostess desk, felt a sudden chill of realization. Her earlier assumptions crumbled under the weight of undeniable truth. This was no ordinary diner. Evelyn continued, her voice measured and kind, "I trust everything has been to your satisfaction so far. If there's anything you need, please do not hesitate to let me know." Keanu nodded graciously, his calm demeanor unbroken. "Everything is perfect, thank you." At the hostess stand, Daniel couldn't help but allow a small, knowing smile to spread across his face as he quietly observed the unfolding scene. "I knew it," he murmured to himself, "a man who carries such calm authority is never truly off balance." Meanwhile, Clara's face paled as the full weight of her misjudgment began to sink in. The memory of her earlier dismissive remarks now stung, and regret flickered in her eyes. With a renewed sense of awareness and humility settling over the room, the diners fell into a reflective silence. Keanu resumed his meal, slicing into the specialty steak with the precision of a master, savoring each bite as though it were a meditation on life's finer details. Clara, forced to confront the impact of her own conduct, watched him with growing disquiet, her earlier arrogance replaced by introspection. After finishing his main course, Keanu set his utensils aside and gently dabbed his mouth with a napkin. The entire room quieted, all eyes drawn to him by the quiet strength emanating from his presence. In that hushed atmosphere, he rose from his seat, and without raising his voice, he began, "Before I leave tonight, I would like to share a few words." In that moment, time seemed to slow, as if every heart in the room was poised to absorb the wisdom about to be shared, transforming an ordinary evening into a truly unforgettable experience. The silence in the room deepened, enveloping every corner, from the elderly couple seated at the center table to the kitchen staff cautiously peeking from behind service doors. Every diner was captivated, their attention hanging on every word. "I came here this evening simply to enjoy a quiet dinner," Keanu began, his voice both steady and warm, resonating with a sincerity that filled the room. "I did not expect to become the subject of scrutiny, nor did I wish to cause any disturbance. Yet, what has unfolded tonight transcends my presence, it speaks to a greater truth that we often overlook." He paused, allowing his words to linger and settle into the hearts of his listeners. Must respect be granted solely on the basis of appearances or the weight of one's wallet? Or should it be given unconditionally, for every individual inherently deserves to be treated with dignity? His gaze swept slowly across the room, pausing for a long moment on Clara, who stood rooted at the hostess desk, her face now flushed with the unmistakable hue of regret. A quiet murmur of agreement began to ripple among the diners. Thomas leaned closer to Miriam, his voice barely above a whisper as he observed, "He's absolutely right. True respect isn't measured by wealth or status, it's earned by the kindness we show each other." Miriam nodded, her eyes reflecting both admiration and an introspective self-awareness. Keanu's tone softened even further as he continued, "This restaurant is undeniably beautiful, not merely because of its sparkling chandeliers or the exquisite table settings, but because of the genuine kindness and courtesy extended to every guest. Tonight, I have experienced both the grace of heartfelt hospitality and the sting of unfounded judgment. I hope that my presence here serves as a reminder that kindness, even when it comes quietly, holds a power far greater than any harsh criticism." At that, a small, tentative round of applause began from the far end of the room. Gradually, as more diners joined in, the applause swelled, not as a mockery, but as an outpouring of sincere appreciation for a man who had chosen to rise above pettiness and extend the hand of understanding. In that moment, every clap resonated like a shared commitment to treat others with the respect they deserve. Clara's eyes filled with remorse as she listened to his words. The weight of her misjudgments pressed upon her, and her earlier haughty demeanor, crafted to uphold an image of exclusivity, now seemed both petty and unkind. In the wake of Keanu's gentle admonition, she recognized that every guest, regardless of their outward appearance, was worthy of genuine respect and compassion. After the applause subsided, Evelyn stepped quietly toward Clara. Her tone was calm yet carried an unmistakable firmness. "Clara, please join me in my office after tonight's service," she said. The request, though simple, brimmed with the weight of accountability. With a shaky nod, Clara whispered, "Yes, Evelyn." As the evening wound down, the entire atmosphere at Aurora Grace had transformed into something profoundly reflective. The diners left with a renewed awareness, a reminder that respect is a universal gift and that every interaction holds the potential for growth. Thomas and Miriam exchanged thoughtful glances, their eyes speaking volumes, while Daniel, as he wiped down the counter, offered Clara a small, encouraging smile, a silent affirmation that change was indeed possible. Seated at a quiet table near the exit, Keanu resumed his dessert, a modest slice of lemon tart that he savored slowly, each bite a quiet meditation. When Evelyn returned to check on him, he greeted her with warm familiarity. "Please, call me Keanu," he said, his smile gentle and unassuming. "There's no need for formalities among friends." Evelyn, now filled with sincere gratitude, replied, "Thank you, Keanu, for your wisdom tonight. Your words have touched us all." He nodded, adding, "Each of us makes mistakes. What truly matters is that we learn from them and strive to be better with every passing day." As the last diners departed, the staff gathered in the softly lit dining room. The remnants of the evening's conversation lingered in the air, a quiet echo of a lesson learned. Keanu stepped forward once more, addressing the small group. "Before I leave, let me say that tonight wasn't just about one misstep or one judgment. It was about recognizing the human potential within each of us. We all have biases and moments of oversight, but it is our willingness to confront them that defines us." He paused, his eyes meeting Clara's one final time. "Clara, I know this has been a difficult evening for you. Please understand that true strength lies not in perfection, but in the ability to recognize one's shortcomings and grow from them." His words, delivered with gentle conviction, resonated deeply within the group. Clara, her voice barely above a whisper, managed to say, "I'm sorry, Keanu. I was wrong to judge you so harshly. I promise to learn from this and to treat every guest with the respect they deserve." Keanu's eyes softened in response. "Thank you for your honesty. Acknowledging our mistakes is the first step toward making meaningful changes." Evelyn then addressed the entire team, her voice filled with both authority and kindness. "Tonight has been a powerful reminder for us all. Let us never forget that every person who walks through our doors is deserving of our best efforts. This is not just about service, it's about humanity." The staff nodded, each person absorbing the gravity of her words. In the quiet that followed, even the faint sound of the dishwasher seemed to underscore a new beginning. As the team tidied up and the final lights dimmed, the memory of Keanu's visit and his message of unconditional respect remained, a beacon of hope for personal transformation. Thank you for joining us for this story of unexpected lessons and the transformative power of kindness. Reflect on the evening's events. Have you ever had a moment where your preconceptions were challenged in a public setting? What did you learn from it? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story resonated with you, be sure to subscribe to Motivation for Success for more inspiring narratives. Remember, respect is not given by circumstance but earned by how we treat each other. Let's continue to grow together.